Probably the most talked about debut in the preseason. It was not Caleb Williams. It was Dillon Gabriel, 13 of 16, 143 yards. He did have a pick six. What was your opinion of his debut, and what grade would you have for him?
D-. Was not impressed. Didn't take any shots downfield, nothing more but 5, 8 yard dink and dunk. I wasn't impressed with Dillon Gabriel. The 2 interceptions he threw, okay, one of them I'll give him somewhat of a pass, even though I don't really think he should have tried to force that with so much traffic, 2 receivers in the area. He was better off just killing the play, throwing it out of bounds. I'm just not a believer in the Browns' vision for Dillon Gabriel.
Browns' vision, right?
Yeah, like you play majority of your games in cold climate. Dillon Gabriel doesn't have a strong arm. I was getting into an argument with somebody about this. If you want the example of what arm strength is, look at Cam Ward's throw to Van Jefferson. He fit that ball in a really tight space. Dillon Gabriel doesn't have that kind of arm strength. Hell, Dillon Gabriel doesn't have the arm strength to make the throw that Shedeur Sanders made against the Panthers in that preseason game in the red zone when he fitted it in the left corner between 2 defenders.
Yeah.
That requires arm strength and also really good timing that Dillon Gabriel really doesn't have. He's more so of a West Coast style passer. I don't think he fits well in this Browns play action based offense. He just doesn't have the ability to push the ball downfield. The way you judge arm strength is the further the ball travels out of the quarterback's hands, does he still have control over it? Is it still a tight spiral? The further Dillon Gabriel attempts to throw, the more the ball seems to drift, and it just doesn't come out with a lot of power. You feel me? Short, intermediate, 5, 15 yards downfield, he's good at that. But I just don't really see what the Browns are trying to sell everybody on Dillon Gabriel.
Yeah, I don't think the Browns are going to be able to sell it, but I honestly couldn't feel more polar opposite than how you feel about Dillon Gabriel, man. I thought he was one of the better college quarterbacks, and, maybe I'm just a believer in him, and I'm early on him. Maybe I'm not, and he ends up not panning out. But, like, the Browns' vision, no. The deeper the ball gets thrown for him, yes, that is a weakness of his, but I believe he has a solid arm. I believe he makes decent reads. I believe he's got good patience in the pocket, and I just watched a good bit of Dillon Gabriel at Oregon and kind of in his journey through college, and, when he gets to the NFL, or with him being in the NFL, it's going to be interesting to see how he deals with this quarterback drama room over in Cleveland, if he's actually going to be traded, if Shedeur makes the cut behind Joe Flacco, whatever the hell it's going to be, right? But, everyone needs to stop overreacting to Dillon Gabriel's preseason debut, and I really wouldn't let the headlines fool you, because if you look and you go snap by snap in this game, his first throw of the game, I thought it showed really good patience, calm feet in the pocket to really get to his spot, deliver that throw over the middle. I thought he had a great throw outside the numbers on 3rd and 6 at one point in this game. His feet are pretty light. Like, he's got a snappy arm, and I think those work together nicely when he's going through the progressions. He's not the most insanely talented. He's not going to blow you away with what he puts on the tape, but I think he is a solid quarterback that if you put him in the right position.
Can I ask you a question?
He can develop, to like maybe a Baker Mayfield type quarterback, not with those exact numbers, but it's going to take him a couple of teams to find a scheme, and then boom, he could be that guy for a team for 3 to 5 years. Go ahead.
Does Dillon Gabriel have a better shot being a starting quarterback in the NFC or the AFC? Can you see Dillon Gabriel beating Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, or Lamar Jackson in a playoff game?
No, but I don't know if that's a fair question, because what quarterbacks in the league are really going to be able to do that besides the cream of the crops?
Well,
that's a select 6 to 8 probably.
That's what I'm getting at. It's like, if you're the Browns, you need to have somebody with an X factor. You got to have somebody that has that it when you're playing in a conference that's home to football gods at quarterback. You can't go far in the AFC when you have monsters like Josh Allen and Lamar. You got to have an alien in your own right. A reason why Mike McDonald wanted to take the swing on Jalen Milroe is because he saw the rapid development of Lamar Jackson when he was the Ravens defensive coordinator. A guy like Jalen Milroe, you're willing to take that risk. Anthony Richardson, I don't fault the Colts for drafting him, because, the idea of, okay, if we develop this dude, we got a guy who can help us destroy Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen if he reaches his potential. Now, with potential, there is a lot of risk involved.
Oh, yeah. Potential's good for one thing, getting people fired.
Exactly. And the thing with the AFC is with a quarterback like Dillon Gabriel, even
Yeah.
if he does reach his potential, right? You start having the conversation that you're having with Tua, very good quarterback, but you question, even if he's in the right situation, can he outgun a Lamar, a Mahomes, a Josh Allen? You know, in the NFC, like Jalen Hurts isn't some kind of slouch. Like Jalen Hurts is a
Right.
really talented quarterback,
Oh, yeah.
a really good runner of the ball.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, Jaden Daniels. So like with Dillon Gabriel, it's more so one of those things that I don't necessarily want to say he's like Brock Purdy, but that's kind of what his ceiling is. Can you get over the hump with a Dillon Gabriel?
Right.
Compared to Shador. With Shador, it's like he may not be the most talented, but he does have an it factor about him. He's really poised, and
Yeah.
anytime the game is on the line, he has ice in his veins.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if Dillon Gabriel would be the quarterback to get you over the hump. I mean, you know, I don't envision the guy as a Super Bowl champ or an MVP, but I mean, I could see him, you know, consciously floating in the 12 to maybe 15 quarterback range, because I thought Dillon Gabriel was a better quarterback than Jalen Milroe coming out of college. And I think everybody would agree with me saying that, because we saw Jalen Milroe struggle with the absolute fundamentals sometimes and literally got benched for Ty Simpson. But that's why it's going to be interesting, because, like, you know, Dillon Gabriel's not going to be a guy to get you over the hump. But, like, if a team wanted to confide in him, like, I don't know, like I said, maybe the Bucs did with Baker after he hit a few stops, and after the Seahawks are trying to do with Sam Darnold after he hit a few stops. Like, it's kind of hard to compare to the rookie, but I'm hoping you guys can kind of see what I'm going for with, like, it just takes them a little bit to get
It depends on the fit.
Geno Smith. I think Dillon Gabriel could be a Geno Smith. It just won't take as long for him to develop and find his Seahawks, find his Raiders. Am I crazy for saying that?
No, like it really depends on the fit. Like I was high on Dillon Gabriel until the Browns overdrafted him, because he's one of those players that was really dependent on the scheme. Like I felt he needed to go to a Kyle Shanahan West Coast style offense.
Yeah, that high-flying Oregon, Dan Lanning.
Yeah, even with what Oregon did last year, somewhat were running a lot of West Coast principles. It was a lot of quick passes, get the ball out fast. Now, he did have the ability to take shots downfield when they were there, but in the NFL, you don't get as many of those as what you get in college. Plus, with the athleticism that he had to throw the ball to, I felt Miami would have been the perfect destination for him. Just a perfect plug-and-play backup for Tua goes down.
Yeah. Honestly, yes.
I
could almost view Dillon Gabriel, smaller, shorter, left-handed, kind of reminds me like he could be a more successful Tua. He could be a more talented Tua. To me, I was a Dillon Gabriel believer. I thought Dillon Gabriel could have been a second or third round quarterback. Like, if the Saints would have taken Dillon Gabriel over Tyler Shuck, y'all can call me crazy, but I wouldn't have been mad. Like, I know what I saw on tape out of Dillon Gabriel, but I agree with you. The Browns had no business picking him. And the NFL just, I don't know. The NFL always speaks in the draft right? Like us as analysts and podcasters, we can look into it and, you know, lovers of the game and see what we see. But, like, until those scouts see those names coming across their board, we're not going to really know how it actually lands with, you know, with those guys. But, like, when you look at the pick six, like you said, two receivers in the same spot on the field, that's more of a mental error on the wideouts and not so much Dillon Gabriel. Now, you can argue, yes, he should have dirted it, you know, killed the play, whatever, but that really, you know, was a bad break for Dillon Gabriel. And, like, when you look at the game, JT, he had 3 bad throws. The pick six, the throw right after where he sailed it over the running back's head behind the line of scrimmage, and then he threw behind a receiver on one of his last passes in the game. Overall, I thought Dillon Gabriel looked good as advertised, like I thought Dillon Gabriel can be. But again, I'm a believer. I don't know if other people are really on the same train as me, which is fine, because he'll have to go out and stink it up for me to, you know, pull my stock out of the quarterback. But again, I thought he was a very good college quarterback, and, like, say what y'all want, but give him credit for having this sort of outing against the Eagles team who is deep defensively, and we saw those players in the preseason. I'm not saying that it's an end-all, be-all performance, but considering how we're talking about Dillon Gabriel, let's give the man a little bit of credit, no doubt. I think I'm just going to leave off Riley Leonard and Quinn Ewers, because we had a pretty good discussion right there about Dillon Gabriel and just kind of a good back and forth on his preseason debut. But y'all get in the chat, get in the comments, let us know your thoughts on these rookie quarterbacks through 2 weeks of the NFL preseason. I also would give Dillon Gabriel probably a B. realistically. All right, JT, I'm going to let you jump out of here. But before we do let you go, please tell the folks where to find you, how they can best support you, and just what you're all about, man. I know you've been on this show before, but it's definitely our jobs as podcasters to promote each other.
Absolutely. I appreciate you for having me on, man. Let me yap with you about the NFL. You can find me, JT Sports, on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. The JT Sports Podcast is available. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, or X, if that's what you call it. JT Sports _ JT Sports __. Same thing with TikTok, man. We're available everywhere, man. You can't miss us, JT Sports. And I appreciate you, AJF, for having me on, man. And I know what you were about to say with OBJ, man. Please don't fall for it, my dude. Don't fall for it. Let that brother come to the Steelers, man. Don't trap OBJ like that.
All right, brother. It's always good to have you on. Y'all make sure to check out JT at JT Sports. Help him on the push to 20K subs on YouTube. Always, brother. Much love. Keep grinding. We will cross paths soon.
Appreciate you, my dude.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and jump into the back half of episode 108 here. As the